Welcome to the Mountain Magnolia Show, where your hosts Mary Noble Braden and Leanne Lewis will introduce you to Swannanoa Valley's most interesting and most iconic individuals.
Hello to all you wonderful listeners out there. This is Mary Noble Braden and Leanne Lewis on the Mountain Magnolia Radio Show. Thank you for listening to our show today. Our focus is to reveal the heart and soul of our beautiful community here in Western North Carolina. Leanne, I've missed you.
I miss you too. It's so good to see you, Mary Noble.
It's the end of summer. We're going to start getting on a roll here pretty soon.
I know. It's been a busy summer. How about you?
Yes, it's been a great summer.
Yeah.
And it's already fall.
I can't believe it. It's already here.
Busy time.
Yeah, but it's great to be here.
Well, will you do the honors of reading our quote for the day?
Sure. So the card I pulled today is reality can be shaped and changed by my direct actions, and so I will act with constancy. Is that right?
Constancy.
To forge my ideal life.
Well, that just reminds us that whatever we're thinking sometimes is what we're projecting. So it's really good to have very kind thoughts.
Yes,
positive
we can certainly
thoughts.
change our reality, can't we?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I wanted to remind all you guys that we are now on Spotify and Apple. So look for the Mountain Magnolia Show on Spotify and Apple. And then a shout out to 96.1, this grassroots radio. They are so good at bringing our community together. And they've really wrapped their arms around all of us. Cameron, nice job.
Oh, Cameron, we love you so much. Man, you make us sound good.
Nice job.
We do without Mr. Cameron.
Well, I'm excited about our guest today. Somebody that has been around for a long time, and I know so many people have a really special relationship with this person in town. And so she is a native here. She was born in the area, and we are going to dive into some really opening up the heart today. So welcome, Jennifer Pickering.
I'm thrilled to be here. I've been driving by, Town Hardware my entire life, one of my favorite stores in the world. But I've been driving by curious about the Elvis sitting in the window here. And
isn't he handsome?
He is. So I'm glad this is a great reminder walking upstairs and discovering the 96.1 and the real country up here in the corner of Town Hardware World, but a reminder to keep curious about what is in your community that you may not have explored and discovered before.
I love that.
I know. You've lived here all your life and you didn't know what was up here, right?
I had no idea. And that Willie, Dolly,
Yeah,
they're up here
They're
too.
all in the room.
They are in the room.
All in the room.
And you're going to get to pick who you want your picture taken by. So
That's right.
Start
So
thinking
kind
about
of
that.
in the back of your head.
I got it.
All right. Well, one of the first questions that we ask our guests is, how did you get to Black Mountain?
Well, I can't. Great question. I'll have to ask my big brothers which car I was in coming from Mission Hospital back to Lake Eden. So I have my entire life been lucky to live at Lake Eden. And my parents, I just found out recently, they had actually moved up to the Mountain Stream Lodge that day or right as I was born, because they had outgrown the other little grove building down in the center of camp. So that is how I got to Black Mountain, was always just being born here.
And tell the audience too, because not everyone knows that your family ran the camp, right?
Yeah, they actually started it. So they had come up from New Orleans and Mississippi years before that and started Camp Crestridge and worked at Ridgecrest. And then as the Black Mountain College was happening and were having some artistic troubles, we will say, and the land was for sale, some investors had offered them the opportunity to start a camp over there. And over the years, it's been really beautiful to see our little nook back there evolve in some beautiful ways. And my husband and I, he runs Lake Eden Retreat back there, and then Camp Rockmont is adjacent to us. Most people just know it as one big, sweet Lake Eden place back there. But it really is a beautiful, off the beaten path sanctuary right here in Black Mountain. And the history, it has really fascinating as you learn more about the history of several places within Black Mountain, but specifically Lake Eden, how trailblazers and artists and families from all around the world, whether it's been through Black Mountain College, through Camp Rockmont, through Leaf, through Lake Eden, have come to our area specifically as a destination, coming back to that little cove back there.
That's right. Some really special things that happen.
Yeah, and will keep on happening, we hope.
Yes, they will.
Knock on wood.
It is like a Garden of Eden. Is that why they call it? Is that where Lake Eden came from? The name?
Oh, we're going to have to.
Am I getting too deep?
I'm going to have to ask some historians on that. But that is a really good. When Grove originally evolved and developed the property, but it really was for the healing waters, and it was during a time in history when people needed sacred and safe spaces to be in. So yeah,
that's great.
It's got a fascinating history, and there's a great little museum right down the street here that truly I've only been to a few times that we all should probably step in and get to know our town a little bit better.
Always.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing here.
Exactly.
Right? We're revealing the heart and soul.
That's right.
Well, so for those that y'all don't know, Jennifer runs Leaf, and Leaf has so many different avenues. Do you want to explain, the fall, spring, and then also all the little other I want to call them leaves.
Well, yeah, you can call them whatever. They're good. Whatever they are, they're good. So I had moved away for a little bit and came back and did not expect to be moving back home, and just found that there was something really extraordinary about where I was from, and it was time to come back home. I moved back from California and Atlanta, some short stints and traveling about through South America and Southeast Asia. And so when I got back here, there used to be another festival that happened at Camp Rockmont for a long time and went through a series of interesting chapters, we'll say. And I call it my Little Red Riding Hood story, that one of the guys who was running it approached me. He was like, "You're buying my festival." I was like, "I don't even go to festivals. Like, I like culture, good people, and the world." And so it ended up being a really interesting journey. And out of that, innocently, I started LEAF, and it stands for, we don't use the acronym, but the founding acronym was Lake Eden Arts Festival, and several of us sat around the property and really thought about what we wanted to experience in our own backyard and how we wanted to transform the property and bring it to life. And when we started it in 1995, so almost 30 years ago, of wanting to bring artists from all around the world, but also from our neighborhood, and to create a sampling of all the amazing magical pieces happening here while you also feel like you get to travel the world. So it is really one of the best samplers of experiences that you can get. Dance was a core part of it when we started. The contra dance scene was already highly just had this vibrancy to it, and the swing dance and the Latin dance and all that. So that was a real core part of it. But really adding within all that, the musicians, the artists, the vendors, the healing arts, and the poetry, which starting it, most festivals at the time were one genre festivals. And when we were designing it as a sampling of cultures from all around the world, people were like, you can't do that. And you can't have healing arts and poetry at a festival. It just was, so we're trailblazing in different ways. And the other piece that was really important to myself and the four others of us that were kind of creating it together, Carol, Kelly, Nave, and as we were doing this, and all of us who started LEAF are still involved in LEAF, which is really fun and really unusual. to be able to say. But we really wanted to create something where you'd bring your grandbabies, you bring your grandma, or you come by yourself, and that it is a family tradition. And like your family.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we started going in 2004, but I know my cousins went before then. And it's amazing how many little babies born in 2004 that are 20-year-olds now, and they still go. Like my kids, if I don't go to Leaf, they're still going to go.
And how many come in 3 generations? Like where we've got a couple that are actually 4-generation Leaf families, where it's just part of traditions. The word festival has definitely gotten like overused. If I was smarter when I was in my late 20s starting this, I probably would have used a different word. I'm not even sure what that would be. But it really is, for people who have not been in a while, is remembering all these little treasures we have in our backyard. And, we've got people coming literally from all over the world. Masanko comes from Malawi twice a year to come to Leaf, and from all around the Southeast. And so really inviting you to step into your community and come just for a day. Yeah. Or if you like to camp, it is about as safe and easy and beautiful camping as you get.
Let's explain to the audience a little bit, because there are so many different avenues of, if you were a banjo picker, if you wanted to do yoga, if you wanted a culinary experience, if you wanted to go down the slide, and even if it's 45 degrees outside, you can still get in your bathing suit and go down the slide. So let's talk about some different avenues, which you did a little bit of. If somebody has not come to Leaf, how we could explain to them, what options they would have.
Well, this has been always one of the interesting opportunities. We do our work a lot better than we always tell our story. And as a fairly small nonprofit dedicated to world cultures and cultural preservation and connecting people through these experiences to open up people's minds and understanding, because, we all have... There's so many extraordinary people in the world. And a lot of times, if you get to know them through music or dance or other places, it opens up those connection points differently. And especially when you've got families involved. But one of the things that I didn't touch on, and Leaf started as a festival, and our organization is called Leaf Global Arts Now. We started as a festival, and over the years, we've expanded into Leaf Schools and Streets as one of our core programs. Leaf International, we work in 10 different countries supporting culture keepers. They're all small programs, but specifically connecting people to their cultures or to other cultures. And who wants to live in a world that doesn't have rich culture? It's one of the pieces, and the music and the arts are the easiest way to really connect and to bring to life and keep those pieces going, but they don't survive unless the people pass them on to the youth and families. It was interesting listening to something about how festivals, so many people have Spotify lists now, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that Leaf does is we expand and really create a whole new Spotify list for you. So that's been one of the pieces, is also inviting audiences to be curious. Not just going to places where who the artists are or what the name is. And people are very comfortable with that, but really stepping into the discovery. So as our nonprofit work of connecting kids and teaching artists and culture keepers all together, and then the festival weaves it all together. And we have a brick and mortar downtown Asheville on the corner. It's a corner a lot like this corner, actually, in downtown Flat Mountain, but it's down on the block. And it is where you can step in and connect to the world in different ways. And so it is, but a real joy to create the festival. It wasn't easy to survive COVID. And so for those of y'all who come out, thank you, because it only works if people come out. Mm-hmm. And if people say, value music and the outdoors and culture as part of my life and family traditions.
Yeah. It's very interesting, Jennifer, about the subcategories of Leaf, because I'm from here, Swannanoa girl, and knew Leaf, but didn't realize you also branched out into the cultural keepers segment. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I know it's all about connecting and bringing folks together. I'm very curious about that.
So, also being a Swannanoa girl,
and Swannanoa,
and being grateful to be here, and also being reminded it's a big world.
That's right.
And I was visiting a cousin who lived in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and realized every Thursday they were literally by ferry bringing over all these steel pan artists. And I asked, I was like, well, aren't there any kids on the island learning the steel pan? And they said, there's one, and it's the governor's daughter. And I said, well, if I can find culture keepers that would be willing to teach the kids at the school and get steel pans made locally, would you be able to host a program at the local school? And that started this journey of Leaf International, which we developed a small prototype that literally it's stepping in with a culture and supporting a culture keeper for them to connect to their kids with their instruments in the ways that they want to. And then we're a support piece. And ironically, for this festival, we just found out today that passports for a group of the kids from St. Vincent and the Grenadines just got approved and came through, so they will be coming to Fall Leaf Festival.
That's wonderful.
Which is really fun, and they'll be also doing workshops in several of our schools and community centers and weaving all these pieces together.
That could have been a dying art, a legacy, if you hadn't stepped in. I mean, and assisted with that. We see it all the time in Cherokee.
Absolutely.
That's another example.
And in St. Vincent, there was one pan tuner left in the entire grouping of islands. And so we've worked with him to start to teach a few of the kids.
Sure.
But that's what we take these things for granted, like with our elders, as we say goodbye to our elders, like the last people that know the songs or the drums or the dances, that were like the juice and the spice of our lives growing up or wherever we traveled to. So it has been an absolute joy and delight, and not easy, but making sure too that wherever we step in or wherever we're connecting, that we're letting the culture keepers lead the way and not from our perspective.
Sure.
So every day we learn something for sure.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, we did a learning journey today at Leaf, and amongst our main staff, there's people. From the 12 of us, there's 4 people from other countries, and then everybody's from some different type of mindset or culture. And so it's a really interesting, fabulous mix of artists and humans. But it came up today, we were talking about hard conversations and how to have them, but Adama Dembele, who's a cultural ambassador with the Ivory Coast, and he said, well, remember, if you're connecting with somebody from my country or from the African continent, we don't give the same clues in terms of engagement and how you would have your conversations.
Oh, that's a good
point. And it was like, even the person leading it was like, thank you. Like I was taking this so from my daily perspective and reminding us of just staying curious.
I think that's great.
And y'all have done such a great job bringing in so many different cultures from different countries. I've been amazed. And that's one of my favorite parts of Leaf, to be able to listen to the music that all these different people play. And they are so thankful and they are so loving. And so I encourage the audience, if you haven't been to Leaf, come and check out these amazing folks that travel far.
They absolutely do. And I realized this year when I started looking, and Leaf has brought more international artists to Western North Carolina than any other organization ever has in the history.
Wow.
And we're proud of that. And it is an honor. And, coming this fall, so we have the theme World Changers, which has been really interesting. It would be one of my questions to both of you all is, what does world changing mean to you? And so it's been a conversation that we've been exploring throughout the year, but we do have some really fantastic artists coming from Colombia, Mexico. There's a Ukrainian Appalachian Celtic band, which is pretty fantastic, Panama. And then you've got, extraordinary, who I consider a world changer, Sheila E., first real, hardcore drummer, and that really set a new level of females being able to take drumming into a different place in the world, because she was Prince's drummer. And then she was just recently on the Democratic Convention stage drumming, and she's in her 70s.
Wow.
And she was
That's impressive.
full on. I was like, go girl. So she will be there. And then Bela Fleck and Abigail, who are they carry so many traditions themselves that, and remember, my husband used to work in world music in New York, and he came to Leaf as a sponsor from New York, and that's how we met. But he always had this saying at Global Rhythm where he worked that, remember, if you live in Zimbabwe, Appalachian music or bluegrass music is world music. True. And so remembering that all these different traditions all have value, and when they come together and they get mixed, it's really
so neat.
A sweetness that's pretty fantastic.
That is great.
And so many wonderful friendships are made.
So many, and a lot of people come and truly they may catch a show or two or a dance or so, but they may just come sit by the lake or play or revive their soul or go take time to do the things that you don't have to do every day, or you don't get to do every day because you're running around, but just take that time to stop and then go shopping with the artist, go get a massage, go get chiropractic, go, I've always been curious about, Taekwondo. Okay, let's go sample something.
She'll be teaching you Taekwondo.
No, but I am really grateful to Sun Tzu Taekwondo, for sure. And they are great Leaf sponsors and partners. So that is fantastic.
It's amazing. From my perspective, I'll just give a little example of how I enjoy Leaf, because it's probably, from somebody from Black Mountain. I do like to listen to the bands. I love getting massages, going to the yoga. Last time I did the drip sauna.
We love the Nordic drip sauna that will be there.
My kids, when they were a younger age, loved the slide, and the food is amazing.
And did your kids ever go to Elfhaven? Because we do have childcare.
They did not. I did not send them there.
It's probably, oh my gosh, my niece is out, when they come and visit at other times, they're like, can we go to Elfhaven? It's like, it's only during the festival, honey. They're like, oh, but we love it.
And then there's some great pottery and clothes. So it's really amazing. So you've done a great job.
Well, and one of the things that I'm really grateful for, I've done a great job at surrounding myself by extraordinary people. That is my superpower for sure. And being able to bring to life Lake Eden, Camp Rockmont, Lake Eden Retreat in a way that allows so many people to enjoy that sacred place and space, and to be in a place where you're not on concrete, where you're on grass, you're on paths, you're amongst trees and, rolling hills and lakes and streams. It's really nurturing.
Well, earlier, Jennifer and I were talking about, because Black Mountain College was where Leaf is now, and Rockmont, and so really how everything has integrated, and it's almost, it's history now, but how Leaf has also just merged into the story, similar to Black Mountain College.
Well, I think one of the things that Black Mountain College people would be most proud of with the Leaf community is just the acceptance of whoever you are, and really creating a welcoming space that also challenges your creativity and create space for different types of collaboration and such. So
it's a place for everybody.
It is a place for everybody.
That's what I'm hearing. It just sounds like a lovely place for everybody.
It is.
Anybody can get something there.
It
Where do they get you there?
I need to get. I usually am out of town.
Well,
I promise, nothing personal. I'm all about Leaf. Love it. Love the concept, and I didn't even know what Leaf stood for. So I learned so much just knowing what that acronym is all about. It's an acronym.
And for anybody out there who's an entrepreneur starting your own new business, don't use acronyms. It's definitely one of those. But I was young, and,
I get that.
And the time when we started it, we did start as a festival.
Yeah,
and you don't think about what you may be like. Now we're a leader in global arts education.
Yeah,
we're partners with the county school, with Buncombe County Schools as Kennedy Center partners in arts education.
Right.
So you don't think 20, 30 years down the line. And I also, Cameron, y'all can't see Cameron, but he's young and he's full of future and all the things and
absolutely
music and recordings and communications. But I encourage everybody to also think about forward and past. We're all, on this journey of history, making these quilts that kind of weave together. And so how all these stories come together, and in 30 years, this conversation may seem differently than how it does right now. So whatever you can also create as archives so that you can tell your story. And it's something that the North Carolina Archives has been really great about taking all of Leaf's history. So as, at some point, the Black Mountain College history, perfect example of it wasn't told until a long time after it no longer existed.
Exactly.
And I was telling Mary Noble, I met with Mary Emma Harris, who wrote the Pinnacle book on Black Mountain College. And when she went to her teachers at UNC and said, this is what I want to do my thesis on, and they said, well, who cares? What is it about it? And there's no information on it. And she took decades working on that book, which created a new narrative for people to latch on to. And Navi and I are working on that with the Leaf story right now, because it has been transformational in our community and so many people's lives. And it's a joy to be able to create, bring people together. But again, just like this radio show and anything, things only happen because of everybody that comes together to make them happen.
That's right.
So it does take a community, and Leaf, we've been able to do it as a small nonprofit because of so many people coming together. When Johnny B worked at Annie's, he used to bring bread, so it really is all these different little pieces that, Owen Middle School has been an extraordinary partner in terms of, Grovestone that people don't even think of, but they just celebrated 100 years. They let us cart people out on the quarry there, and they're a family, local industry.
That's right. Yeah, they've been there forever.
Well, you've definitely brought so many people together, and it's really a beautiful story to be able to get your perspective from birth, until now of how your stories weave together. And anyway, it was really awesome to hear about how everything is coming together. And I know you're about to have a 30th anniversary for Leaf next year.
So this October, October 17th through 20th is the festival. We only do one big one a year. So this is your chance. This is your chance.
Very soon.
Kids under 10, free. And there's community passes available that are special passes. There's you can come day, community, volunteer, work exchange. And we make it possible for people to come regardless of where you need to step in at. And so we hope people will come out, and then, we're, knock on wood, that we'll be stepping into 30th next year.
So let's explain a little bit more in detail to the audience. If they want to come to Leaf, tell them the website they need to go to.
Okay, it's super simple. theleaf.org, THELEAF.org. They can go there, get information, get tickets. If you cannot find your Leaf or figure out what the best path is for you, just email us, info@theleaf.org, and ask us to call you, and we will walk you through and make sure. And once you figure it out, you're good to go.
That's perfect. Well, also, I will have this on Facebook as well. So if you want to take a look at the Mountain Magnolia's Facebook page, you can learn all about Leaf. So, Leanne, let's ask our last question that we usually ask.
Oh, let's do. I love this part. Yeah.
all
So, Jennifer, if you were to recommend to our audience how to live a better life, something you do or would recommend, what would that be?
Okay, there's two things
That's
that
fine.
come to my mind. One is at the end of every day, I do the 5 Tibetan rites. There's just a little thing of exercise. Because an older woman who just moved from Michigan to Highland Farms taught me this years ago. And I do, within that, the 5 things that I'm grateful for that happened that day. And then I end with saying, today was a good day. And the other piece is, as I was designing Leaf, I wanted to create a sampling of how to live life fully. And so I take the elements that we have and I try to make myself or invite myself to keep curious and explore, dance a little bit more, explore more music, step into arts I don't know about, listen to some poetry, make sure I do plenty of healing to keep healthy, and connect with friends and make some new ones.
I love it.
I love it too. Sounds like a full day and a wonderful one at that.
Thank you both.
Well, thank you, Jennifer, so much. And we're excited for Leaf. So you guys, come join us here in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you for listening to the Mountain Magnolia show. And remember, we have a Facebook page so you can find information. And we will see you next week. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you for joining us for Mountain Magnolias with your hosts, Mary Noble Braden and Leanne Lewis. Join us next time for more interesting stories from the Swannanoa's most interesting people as we give you something to talk about. Mountain Magnolias is a production of Noble & Company Realty in Black Mountain. For more information, please call them at 828-357-5243. 828-357-5243.
This program is produced and engineered by Cameron Crisp.
The preceding has been a production of Signal Hill Studios. For more information, please call 704-872-0550.